Hi guys, and welcome to this week's Coffee and Heroes show, coming to you a little later than normal. Recording this at 8:15 on a Wednesday morning. We had an event to go to last night. There was a Q&A with the greatest wrestler of all time, Chris Jericho, in the limelight, and that involved a signing and photo opportunity and all this kind of good stuff, but it just started quite early, so I didn't have a chance to record this before going, but I'm dedicated. Wanted to make sure it got out there this week. But yeah, I'm basically going to focus on stuff that came into the store this week, variants for this week, my own pull list, and throw a couple of previews, choices in there as well for upcoming releases that I'd highly recommend. So yeah, decent amount to get through. There was a massive delivery this week, tons of indie titles, a lot of big relaunches, jumping on points for people. There was stories that finished off this week. So yeah, pretty much a very packed week, to say the least, in the world of comics. So yeah, outside of that, I should just announce quickly with regards to the store, will be closed next week on the 12th and possibly the 13th. I need to confirm 13th, but we're definitely closed on the 12th as Smithfield itself is closed. But I'm just waiting to confirm on the 13th. So just keep an eye on the social media channels as ever. And we'll certainly let you know with regards to that, just to keep everyone up to date as ever. Of course, there is the chance that the store could close at any time in the next couple of weeks. We are expecting our firstborn on the 20th of July. So depends whether he wants to come a little early or not, or whether he's going to be on time or late. Or it's an exciting time, but yeah, it's a leap into the unknown, to say the least. So, but yeah, I'll jump into what we'll have this week anyway. I'll kick things off just with new stuff that arrived into the store, graphic novel wise. So a couple of mangas actually to kick things off. We're ordering more and more manga in for release day. We'll never have the range of Forbidden Planet. We just won't. The main reason for that is my knowledge of manga is not where my knowledge of comics is, and I always feel weird storing lots or selling lots of a product that I don't have a lot of knowledge about. So we'll always try and get in the bigger series. We'll try and give you an alternative to going to FP and Waterstones and so forth, but our manga section will never rival those guys. So, but, as I say, in terms of getting new stuff in, just like this week, we have One Piece volume 99 in this week, and we also have Boruto number 14 as well. So a couple of solid manga titles in. Back in stock as well is starting to get Deceased back in stock. This is certainly one of our favorite stories in store. This is, of course, an alternate DC universe. It's pretty much The Walking Dead meets the DC universe. Easiest way to pitch it. But first couple of books are here. You've got Deceased, which is the first one. You have Deceased Unkillables, which was sort of the in-between one, if you will. You have Hope at World's End as well. And then there's just one more we're waiting on coming in, which is Deceased Dead Planet. But if you're looking to kick things off, start off with the main Deceased title, Deceased Unkillables, and you'll be in good shape. Next up, we have a rather thick graphic novel. So this is Green Lantern Horatius. This is essentially continuing on the Infinite Frontier launch for Green Lantern. So this has been Jeffrey Thorne writing this. As I said, it's a pretty thick one. The first book contained, I believe, issues 1 to 4 and a couple of future state issues. This one is 5 to 12 and the Green Lantern 2021 annual. So this essentially concludes the story that was kicked off in that first trade. Back in stock, and another one of my own personal favourites. This is another drop of Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips goodness. This is called The Fade Out. This was essentially a 12-issue miniseries that played all around the idea of 1940s Hollywood. An up-and-coming actress is murdered, and then it's all about the politics behind the scenes in Hollywood. You got your private eye, you got your main character who is still wounded from World War II and stuff like that. So yeah, really, really good stuff. Can't recommend that enough. And again, that's the whole one. You can buy 3 individual trades for it, individual thinner ones. But if you're going to commit to the whole thing, that's the way to go, as it works out much better value-wise. Next up, we have the second volume of Batman Urban Legends. So this is collecting stories from issues 1 to 6 and 8 to 10 of Urban Legends. You've got stuff in here from Tini Howard, Cian Tormey, Max Dunbar, Dan Waters, Cecil Castellucci, Marguerite Bennett. Tons of great talent involved in this, and it mostly focuses on the Bat family. You have stories in here including Tim Drake, Azrael, the Batgirls, Batwing, Batwoman. So it's nice to see some Bat-related titles. It doesn't just have to continue with Bruce's plight. Next up, back in stock, as there is a one-shot out this week that follows. This is Barbaric, Book 1, Murderable Offences. I'm a huge fan of this. It's essentially Conan, but even bloodier, even funnier, and it has a talking axe that needs fed blood all the time. Exceptionally metal title. Big fan. When your main blurb on it is from Scott Snyder, you know you're in good hands. Next up is an Epic Collection back in stock. So this one is The Amazing Spider-Man Great Power. So this is Amazing Spider-Man from the very start. So Volume 1, 1962 to 1964. This contains Amazing Fantasy 15, Amazing Spider-Man 1 to 17, and the annual as well. So if you want to go right back to the start of Spidey, this is the way to do it. Of course, the other alternative way Marvel are releasing the Spidey stuff, and a lot of their stuff in general, are these Mighty Marvel Masterworks, which are the more sort of the smaller size, 9 to 10 issues per volume of these. This is volume 3 of the Spider-Man Mighty Marvel Masterworks. This contains issues 20 to 28 and the annual number 2 as well. I do know the first one's a little tricky to get at the moment, and hopefully Marvel will do another print run of that. Next up, we have a nice hardcover for Batman Detective Comics Fear State. So this was all the Fear State tie-ins written by Mariko Tamaki. But the main selling point for me on this is that beautiful Dan Mora art. Dan Mora on Detective Comics was an absolute delight. I've no doubt that's what set him up then for the Batman Superman World's Finest run that he's currently embarking on. So yeah, that was Detective Comics issues 1040 to 1045, plus the Batman Secret Files Huntress as well. And also some backup stories as well. So yeah, some good stuff in there. I really enjoyed Mariko Tamaki's Batman run. Obviously, Ram's about to take over with the next one. Next up, we have an original hardcover from Image Comics. This is called Paris. This comes from a creative team, Andy Watson and Simon Gain. A fairy tale romance set in the streets of 1950s Paris. So again, something a little different from the usual, capes and cowls. And it's always great to see the diversity that Image release with their titles. And again, that was an original graphic, so the single issues were never released of that. Next up, we have Buffy the Last Vampire Slayer. So even I read this, and I'm not a Buffy guy, but I enjoy older reinterpretations of characters. And for this one, it was basically Buffy was the last one standing. 4 issues in total, really good fun. And if you're a Buffy fan, you'll probably get even more out of it. An Aftershock title up next from Ron Mars and Marco Castiello. This is called Almost American. This was based on a true story, so it was basically about 2 real-life spies. So in 2008, husband and wife Russian intelligence operatives walked into the US Embassy in the Dominican Republic in order to defect, making a deal to trade secrets for new lives. But instead of the American dream, Janosh and Victoria found themselves caught up in red tape, bureaucracy and turf wars between the FBI and CIA, all while their past tried to kill them. So yeah, again, it was based on a real life true story. I remember reading the first 2 issues of it and enjoying it. I just had a little trouble getting issues 3 and 4 in for some reason. Very apt timing, Stranger Things. So this is Stranger Things meets Dungeons and Dragons. So this is Jody Hauser, Jim Zub on writing duties here. And this is basically a great crossover between the two. It was a 4-issue miniseries from what I can remember. And this is, again, the complete bad boy in there. I think, yep, there was also another Stranger Things one in here as well, which was Stranger Things Science Camp. Again, another mini-series about the boys going off to science camp. Still haven't watched Stranger Things. We are currently watching The Boys and loving that. Just a couple more to go. So you have Mirka and Dolfo's Mercy. This was a great sort of steampunk horror title. I collected all this in single issues. Big fan of Mirka and Dolfo's art in general. I think her style is absolutely brilliant. And again, this is set in the late 19th century. Very steampunky, lots of horror, lots of gore, and a self-contained story as well. Next up, we have the crossover between Ruby and Justice League. So again, this was a 7-issue miniseries from what I remember. Yep, proved very, very popular. Ruby's not something I'm massively aware of. Obviously, I'm aware of Justice League. So it wasn't one that I read, but definite fan base for that title. Next up, we have the Catwoman tie-in to Fear State. This was great as well, written by Ram V, and Nina Vakuvian on art, and then Jordi Belair on colours. So this was 34 to 38 of the Catwoman run that Ram was on. And I think this was him saying goodbye to the Catwoman run before Tini Howard took over. And again, I keep saying it, Catwoman for me is one of DC's underrated gems. Just such great storytelling. And then we finish off with a nice hardcover, silly size, over the top, premium plus, whatever you want to call it. DC title, and this is Suicide Squad Get Joker. I love this. It was 3 issues in total. It was a ragtag Suicide Squad thrown together, including Jason Todd. Harley Quinn as ever, of course. Mad Dog in there as well. But yeah, I really, really like this. And it was a 3-issue mini, as I say, written by Brian Azzarello and art by Alex Maleev. Great stuff. And I love these hardcover graphic novels that they release for the Premium Plus stuff. So we'll move on now to my pull list this week. And it was quite a large pull list, I gotta say. This is not even including the variants for this week, but I'm just going to take them all out here just so you can get a sense. Then they go back in one at a time. So first of all, we have Suicide Squad Blaze. So this is the third part of this Simon Spurrier, Aaron Campbell, Jordie Bellaire joint. This has been a really great dark Suicide Squad story. Very similar tone, perhaps unsurprisingly, timing-wise, to Peacemaker. But again, last issue of that, and that's been really, really solid so far. I may have already read this. Yes, it is awesome. It is everything I hoped it would be. Chip Zdarsky jumping on Batman. This is, as it states at the top, a new era begins. So if you are looking at jumping on point for Batman, this is the jumping on point. Issue 125. What's great about it as well is, so it's Chip Zdarsky and Jorge Jimenez on the main title. But you also have a backup story as per DC's format these days. But the backup story is also written by Zdarsky. The artist on this one is Belen Ortega, and it focuses on Catwoman, but it's uniquely linked to the main story. So very happy with how they've started things off there. Next up, we have Amazing Spider-Man. So again, I was a huge fan of issue 4 of Amazing Spider-Man, written by Zeb Wells, John Romita Jr. on art, and we're on to issue 5. Loving what they're doing with Tombstone at the moment. Art is great, storytelling's great. Can't go wrong. Nothing like a car alarm going off at 8:30 in the morning. Next up, we have Batman Killing Time. So we're up to part 5 of Tom King and David Marquez's mini-series there. And again, been enjoying this. So we're approaching the end. DC vs. Vampires is back. This makes me very happy. Love this series. James Tynion IV, Matthew Rosenberg, Otto Schmidt. We had those 2 great one-shots, which were, to me, they were vital to the story. It's not even like they were just disposable, what are other characters doing at this point? They were integral to the plot, so pick those up if you haven't. But yeah, we're back with the main series, so issue 7 of 12. Next up is the final issue of The Joker, and this rather glorious Brian Boland's variant cover. So this finishes off James Tynion's run on Joker with 15 issues. Again, I've already delved into this, and it was quite a poignant ending and leaves James Gordon in quite an interesting place. Next up, we have Captain America, Sentinel of Liberty. So, of course, this is the book focusing on Steve Rogers. You've got the 2 Captain America titles at the moment, one focusing on Steve, one focusing on Sam. And this is the Colin Kelly, Jackson Lansing one, and really like the first issue. That had a real Ed Brubaker-esque vibe to it. Ghost Rider is another one I'm really enjoying at the moment. Benjamin Percy's run on this, Corey Smith on art. And we're up to issue 4. And again, this has been a cracking title. Ghost Rider's not a character I've read a lot of, but I might just start just from that. Next up, we have the 2nd issue of Jane Foster and the Mighty Thor. This is one by Torunn Grønbekk. Really, really enjoyed this. Matt Dowling on art. First issue of this was great. Obviously, we spoke to Torunn a few weeks back on the podcast. Thoroughly amazing woman, talented writer, really interesting to chat to. And I'm really enjoying that book. And again, nice timing with the Thor movie on its way. Last issue again, this is King Conan, issue 6. So Jason Aaron, Mahmoud Azhar saying goodbye to Conan. And with the 6-issue miniseries, of course, Conan the Rights lapsed, I believe, and they are moving over to, might be Dark Horse, might be IDW. I'm not sure, but they went out into the public domain and have been snapped up by someone else. But the Marvel stuff's been really, really good. Strange Academy, last issue again. We're getting a lot of lasts this week. So yeah, this is issue 2. We've been waiting a little while for this, but this series has always been worth waiting on. Scotty Young writing, of course, Humberto Ramos on art. Just a great title, one of Marvel's best for me. Next up, we have Absolution. So this is a new title for AWA Studios. Always a good thing, if you ask me. This is written by Peter Milligan and in-house artist, I suppose, Mike Deodato Jr. on art. And of course, they have stolen the Blade Runner logo there, but I like me some sci-fi. I had mentioned Barbaric in the graphic novel, so as I said, there's a one-shot out this week called The Harvest Blades. I think this is going to then set up the second story arc. Oversized title, highly recommended, just such a fun series. Issue 2 of The Closet hits this week as well, so James Tynion IV, Gavin Fullerton on art. First issue was creepy as anything, and the second issue, if just the cover alone is anything to go by, is going to follow that trend. New Department of Truth this week as well, so up as far as issue 19, Tynion again, but Martin Simmons on art this time, and again, one of the best conspiracy thrillers around there. 8 Billion Genies, number 2. I don't know if you saw the news during the week, 8 Billion Genies, so it's Charles Soule and Ram Brown. It's been picked up for a movie at Amazon Prime, so search out your issue 1s. But yeah, really fun idea, really lovely concept of everybody on Earth being given one wish by a genie, so use it wisely. New Firepower, always good. We're at issue 22 now, so we're approaching the end of the 4th full story arc. This story just gets bigger and bigger. It started out as like this small family drama and this guy with a hidden past, and it's now grown to incorporate globetrotting adventures and dragons. Absolutely brilliant. Robert Kirkman, Chris Samney. A new Mark Millar title drops this week, so this is Prodigy, the Icarus Society, follow-up to Prodigy, which of course was all to do with the world's smartest, suavest, best-looking spy in order. With this one, it's a different artist. It's Matteo Buffagni. I believe it was Raphael Albuquerque did the first one, but new Mark Millar's always to be enjoyed. We have Prometheus 1313. I knew nothing about this other than it's written by Andy Diggle and it has a cover by Jock. That was enough to get me in. Blaze Studios, brand new number 1, so again, new title to dive into. Highly recommended for this week as well. So Starhenge, this is Liam Sharp launching his creator-owned title at Image Comics. He writes it, he draws it, does everything on it. We have a few variants for it in as well, which I'll show you in a second, but this is the cover A by Liam Sharp, and it's subtitled Book 1, The Dragon and the Boar. So hard sci-fi, and I hear really good things about that. Next up, we have Time Before Time, so we're continuing on with the Rory McConville, Declan Shelby title. This is issue 14. There was a new story arc kicked off in 13, which was really strong beginning, and I'm loving that title. Car alarm again. Next up, we have Twig. Now with Twig, this is written by Scotty Young, art by Kyle Strahm, but I always go for the Scotty Young variant covers because, you know, Vicky loves Scotty Young. And this has been a great little all ages tale as well. Just a couple to go. We have The Walking Dead Deluxe. Don't really need to say anything about it. You're either on it or you're not at this point. Issue 42 of some of the best comic storytelling of all time. West of Sundown is next. This is a fun vampire adventure, sort of vampire mixed with the Wild West. And the covers for this every time are awesome. They look like old 70s or 80s exploitation horror posters. And then finally we have What's the Furthest Place from Here. So this is issue 7. This is the start of the second story arc. The trades just came out there last week, which contain issues 1 to 6. If you love you some dystopian future, some music related content, and sharp witty dialogue, this is a great title. As I say, trades there, and then if you wanted to jump on singles, that's issue 7. So we move on from there and we'll move on to the variants, which as I say, there is quite a lot of this week. So we kick things off. I was speaking there about Starhenge by Liam Sharp. So he clearly called on some of his buddies to do some varying covers for him. So it's quite the lineup. So first of all, we have Mike Perkins doing a cover. Of course, the main artist on Swamp Thing at the moment. Next up, we have Ben Templesmith, whose art style is so unique. Always love the coloring. So lovely cover for that one. And then we also have Christian Ward, of course, recently launched Bloodstained Teeth, artist in Aquaman Andromeda, doing a cover as well. So yeah, Liam Sharp calling in on his artistic buddies. I showed off there the Twig Scotty Young cover, so we've got extras in of that. But we also got in the Peach Momoko Twig issue 3 cover. You know, Peach Momoko style just growing on me week by week by week. So yeah, lovely cover there. We have a couple of Batman 125s in as well. So the ever impressive Jim Lee doing a cover, always a good thing. Scott Williams on colours for that. And then we have Gabriel Dell'Otto doing a cover as well. So the much more painterly style. Another Bat variant here, which is Batman 89 number 6. So this is Julian Totino Tedesco doing his version of Batman 89. Pearl motif had to be in there somewhere, didn't it? Next up is Batman Killing Time number 5. So Cal and Yu continuing to do a rake of covers for Batman Killing Time. We have one this week which is called Black Adam, the Justice Society Files, and it's going to focus on a different character each time. These are essentially little preludes before the Black Adam movie comes out, and this one is the photo cover for that. So that is another variant. We have Dark Crisis 2 this week as well. So this one is Juliet Inika doing this. So you've got Nubia and of course Batman. The next Batman, I suppose. DC versus Vampires is the next variant. So Francesco Mattina continuing his rake of variants for this title. This time focusing on a vampirific Harley Quinn. Joker has some great covers this week, as I say. So first of all, you've got the Dyke Ruin cover, which is this rather beautiful Gotham City snow globe with the Joker reflection. And then I'd already shown it off in my own collection. This is the Brian Bolland cardstock variant cover. Echoes of Killing Joke, of course. Marvel have started this week doing a rake of versus Predator variants. So we have Captain America Sentinel of Liberty. This is Iban Coelho doing his Predator variant. Also for that title, we have a Peach Momoko variant, which is pretty glorious. And again, her style's just growing on me more and more. Next up, we have a Carnage variant cover. This is by David Nakayama. This is for Carnage issue 4. The only reason this isn't on my pull list is because we were a bit low on the issues that came in. We were short on what we were sent, essentially, so I'll wait until next week. But loving Carnage at the moment. Much more than I thought I would. Another Peach Momoko cover, the hardest working woman in variant covers. Again, this is for Jane Foster and the Mighty Thor, which also gets the versus Predator treatment this week as well from Jung-In Yoon. So again, you have your Jane Foster versus Predator. I'd mentioned Barbaric. We got a couple of variant covers in for this as well. So first of all, we have Richard Pace doing this rather lovely variant. And then we also have a 1-to-5 retailer incentive variant by Colin Howell as well. So that one is up for sale today as well. A couple to finish, we have Prometheus 1313. I mentioned the Jock for cover A. Another one of my favorite artists doing the variant, which is Andrea Sorrentino. Of course, doing such great work with Jeff Lemire at the moment. So variant for that. And then we finish off with a Carlo Barberi variant for Spawn 331. So that is all the variant covers this week as well. And then we'll just finish off with just a couple of recommendations from the previews book. As I say, these are available for pre-order now. And just get your pre-orders in. It always helps us judge how many of something to order and make sure you guys don't miss out. So first of all, I'm just looking up the DC one because the DC hard copy book hasn't arrived this week, unfortunately. But there was only one place to start. You know, we had this great moment during the week where the one, the only, the legend, the myth, the man, the greatest post-credit scene actor in Marvel Cinematic Universe history, Bruce Campbell retweeted our previews board simply because we put this at the top of it, which is Sergeant Rock versus the Army of the Dead. It's going to be a 6-issue miniseries. It's going to be horror, it's going to be comedy, it's going to be all the good Bruce Campbell stuff. He is writing it, Eduardo Risso's on art, so there's 2 big ticks for me, and then Gary Frank is doing covers, so 3 big ticks. So the story begins in Berlin 1944. The Nazis are flanked on all fronts by the combined Allied forces, and defeat seems inevitable. In a last-ditch effort to turn the tide of the war, Hitler and his team of evil scientists create a serum that resurrects their dead soldiers, creating an army of the dead even stronger than they were in life. Sergeant Rock, hero of the European theatre, and his easy company find themselves dispatched into enemy territory to face off against the strangest, most horrific enemies they've ever encountered, Nazi zombies. Sign me up for that. Also comes with a glorious choice of a Francesco Francavilla variant, which I highly recommend, and it's free to order as well. So for the Marvel book, the first place I'm going to go for a recommendation, if I can find it. And I know there's a lot of guys are excited for this, and you can add me to that. So what we have is Midnight Suns number 1 of 5. So this is going to be a 5-issue miniseries written by Ethan Sachs with art by Luigi Zagaria. Rise of the Midnight Suns, a dark prophecy and apocalyptic new villains with horrifying powers the likes of which Earth have never faced before ordains a team of Midnight Suns to rise and tear crap up. Magic, Wolverine, Blade, Spirit Rider, and Nico Minoru. But what does this new threat have to do with the Sorcerer Supreme's past? and why Strange Academy student Zoe #1 on the Sun's list. So yeah, I love me some Supernatural stuff. I think it sounds like a great team. I like that they're utilising characters from Strange Academy in there as well. So that is definitely on my list. And then with the main previews book, there's only really one place to start. Well, there's two places to start, but I'll go with a single issue over a graphic novel, although the graphic novel you will hear about soon as well, I am sure. But yeah, the big one to mention this month is Vanish. So Vanish #1. This comes from very much the superstar team of Donny Cates and Rand Stegman. So it's a case of not only just following creators, but following a creative team in this case. So this is a brand new #1, a brand new ongoing series. Oliver Harrison was a mythical hero who slayed the greatest threat to his realm before even hitting puberty, but that was them. As an adult, Oliver lives an average cookie-cutter suburban life, aside from the fact that he's mentally unstable, massively paranoid, smokes like a chimney, and gets blackout drunk every time to hide from his horrific nightmares. Will the arrival of a superhero team called The Prestige prove the madness isn't all in Oliver's head? And what about all that epic fantasy crap from his childhood? So yeah, I mean, the Venom team, the Absolute Carnage team, the Kane and Black team, you know this is going to look good, you know it's going to be fast-paced, you know it's going to be action-packed, and you know it's probably going to end up quite gory as well. So yeah, Vanish #1, I get your pre-orders in for that as well. Of course, these are ones all due from the July book. These are due for release in September. So that is going to do it for us this week. As I say, didn't want to miss out on a show just because I was off indulging in my wrestling. But yeah, as ever, hope you guys enjoyed this and hope it proved useful. All this stuff's going out for sale on New Comic Book Day this week, which of course is, well, today. So again, hope you're staying safe out there. I look forward to seeing you all in the store soon, so take it easy.